If you've been looking for a lightweight and compact way to add extra power to your camera or camera rig, you need to check out the Smallrig 4064B compact V-mount battery plate system. This plate is tiny and it weighs just 8 ounces, so this barely adds any weight to your camera setup at all. What's really great about this is it has an Arca plate clamp on the top, and on the bottom you get several different 1/4, 20, and 3/8 inch holes. This makes it really easy to power your camera for a longer amount of time because there's these new really cool compact V-mount batteries that have all these 8 volt, 12 volt ports on it, D-tap ports, USB ports on the side as well. So you can use these to power pretty much any camera, either using the USB-C jacks, or you can also power your camera by using a dummy battery. And there's also just ways that you can power other accessories like a screen. So in this video, we're going to show some of the features of this V-mount battery plate and why I wish I would have bought it sooner. In the box, you do also get 2 Arca plates. You can put it directly on your camera so you don't have to use a cage to use it. And you can also put one on the bottom of the V-mount battery plate as well. One other thing to note about this is it's not tied to any particular camera brand. I have some Sony cameras and I have this Lumix S5 IIX. This works equally well on both of them. Sometimes I use my cameras with the cage and I slot the cage directly into the clamp. Other times I use the Arca plate that they gave me. I just attach this directly to the camera and then I'm able to slot it in like that. So either way, it works great. This is just a very adaptable system for any camera brand. On the bottom of the plate, you do get a couple 1/4, 20 threads and you also get a 3/8 inch thread. So you can use this to attach any tripod quick release plate to the bottom of this as well. I really like using this with my cameras that already have Arca plates built into the cage. So all you have to do to attach it is slide it on and then flip this lever until it gets tight. And then you have this really compact rig. Then on the back, you get the V-mount where you can slide a battery directly on. There's no power ports on the side of this though, so we're just gonna use the battery's power ports. Another thing that's really smart about this is they actually let you extend it so you can put it closer to your camera or you can back it up a little bit further from the camera. You get about 1.43 inches of play with the slide. Another thing that's nice is you get this lock knob here so you can tilt the battery out of the way as well. So if you wanna make the rig a little longer, you can do it this way, or you can fold it back in place. Or if you get in a position like right now where we can't actually open the monitor of the camera, we can just fold this down. They did a really great job at designing the angle of it. We can pull our screen out and then we can put the battery right back. And then I actually typically just leave my screen tucked in like that to keep it out of the way whenever I'm not using it. So it just kind of rests against the battery. And then you just unlock this lock on the side and you can put it as close to or as far away from the camera. It's kind of nice to have it in this compact mode because it makes it really easy to get good handheld shots with the camera because it makes your center of gravity close to your chest, really good solid contact. So I really like using this because it just beefs up the camera a little bit. Now, if you're wondering how do you power your camera, you get so many different options depending on the battery type you use. Right now we're using the Neewer PS099E battery. What I really like about this battery is we get 8 volts and 12 volts on the top. We get a D-tap on the side. And we also get both USB-A and USB-C. This camera is the Lumix S5 IIX. We could either power this using a dummy battery, or we could also power it with USB-C. I really like using the USB-C power whenever possible because then this actually just charges your battery and keeps it topped off while you're shooting. What's really nice about that is if you don't want to use this rig, you can just loosen the camera, pop the battery plate off, and then you can go back to shooting with your smaller camera setup. If you choose to use the dummy battery with this, then you are going to be stuck with the battery. So just note that. Dummy battery means you got to keep this closer by. If you use USB-C to power it, then you're going to be a little bit more mobile. With the S5 IIX, I typically use the SSD recording though, so my USB-C port is usually taken. So I will usually use the dummy battery whenever I'm using this. So again, to use it, all you got to do is slide the plate directly on, lock it into place, and now we've got this compact, tiny camera rig built up. And then what's really nice that you can do, you can go to the bottom, you can put your tripod plate of choice on. They do give you the Arca plate that's included, so you can use this Arca plate. They also give you a smaller Arca plate, so you can choose if you want to put one of those on the bottom of your camera to use with the clamp, put it on the bottom of this, use a cage. The options are pretty much endless with this setup. Another thing that's cool about this setup is they give you a couple of these V-mount adapters, and I took this Smallrig power bank clamp. So instead of using the bigger battery, if this is charging or I don't want to use this, then we can just take this power bank clamp and then we can attach it to that. And I have this Anchor power bank I really like. It has a USB-C cable built right in. And then we can use this as a really easy way to power our camera for a long amount of time. I'll have links to this battery plate, the power banks, all the different adapters and accessories I'm using in the description below. So just by using this, we've got a really compact camera rig and we added just a little bit more juice to the back of it by putting this power bank on. You can put really big power banks on if you want as well, all depending on the type of clamp you get. Let's go ahead and set this up with a little bit more of a beefy rig that I would typically use with my S52X. We're gonna take this newer battery, put it on the back, and then we're going to go underneath the camera. We're gonna open the battery door up, pop the battery out, and I've got this Condor Blue dummy battery. This one's gonna use either the 8 or 12 volt. It has a regulator built into it, so it makes it the exact voltage that the S52X needs. Now, you do want to be very careful when you use these batteries because the batteries themselves do not regulate the voltage. So make sure you're using voltage regulated equipment, and make sure you check the power requirements on your cameras, your monitors, your other accessories so you don't fry anything. On the S52X, this door actually has a rubber piece so you can let the power cable come through it. Let me get back onto the top of the battery plate. I'm also wanting to use this camera monitor. I'm gonna just attach it to the top of my cage, lock it on using this NATO clamp. But now we need to power this as well. I have this Sony NPF to D-tap adapter. Put this on the back of the camera, and then we're gonna plug it into the D-tap. Now I've got a bigger rig with a full-size monitor, and what I really like about this setup is we're just able to power it all off of one battery. So before I would have to use a battery for my camera, a battery for my screen, keep track of the power for it, worry about the camera dying. And this Smallrig battery plate just makes all of this possible to have such a compact yet powerful camera rig and to be able to rig it out however I want without having to change much up. So is the Smallrig compact V-mount battery plate worth it? I honestly put off on buying it for a long time because I did feel like it was gonna be a little bit expensive. They usually go for anywhere from $80 to $100. Then you have to buy the battery, which can be $200 or so. Then you need to get dummy batteries, cables, other adapters, and accessories. So overall, you can end up spending anywhere from $300 to $400 just to get something like this rigged up. But once I got it, I realized just how compact and convenient it is to have it and how it just takes my camera rig up a whole notch because it's so compact and yet it balances really well. So I've been able to get better handheld footage than ever just by resting the battery against my chest. And then you can put a monitor on top, have it powered really easily. So it's the convenience of the battery plate and the ability to power your camera for a really long time that's worth it. Especially if you start to look at the price of any of the first party batteries for the Sony cameras, the Panasonic cameras. They do add up really fast if you want to get 3 or 4 batteries, and you got to keep them all charged. It's a lot easier to keep 1 or 2 of these big beefy batteries charged than having a bunch of different battery types. And you can adapt these battery plate setups to pretty much anything. If we don't want the camera rig to be this small, we can just extend the back rail a little bit, make it take up a little bit less space, get it a little bit further from my chest when I'm shooting in handheld mode. So I definitely think this is worth it because you do get such a versatile setup. And this is gonna keep your camera powered for a long time. These compact batteries are gonna power your camera way longer than any of the stock batteries that you get are because they just have so much more juice. And you can get different wattage sizes of them. They typically come in 99 watt hours and there's some that are smaller and some that are bigger. The 99 is a nice middle ground as far as the amount of power that's available. I think if you're using a camera that doesn't have the SSD recording, plan on using the USB-C cable to power it because that's just gonna give you a lot of versatility without having to run a dummy battery, and then you're gonna be able to pop the camera off really quick if you need to run and gun. So I really do think that this Smallrig compact V-mount system is totally worth it because it's gonna allow you to power your camera for a long time in one convenient package, whether you're using it handheld, on a tripod, however you wanna use it, this is gonna get the job done for you. It's adaptable, powerful, and useful. If you have any other questions about this setup, leave a comment down below. I'll do my best to answer them. If you're interested in buying any of the accessories we talked about in this video, I have links for all of them in the description below. Like this video, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any upcoming content.